Trotting in this country took on a new dimension in 1976 with the introduction of the Australian Grand Circuit, which eliminated the clashing of dates for major races. So often in the past, this had prevented the best horses competing against one another. One of the more memorable clashes in the early days of the Grand Circuit took place in the A.G.Hunter Cup at Moonee Valley on the 18th of February 1978, a race which produced one of the best staying performances ever witnessed in this part of the world.
Swinging out of the straight now and into the back, and Rip Van Winkle on top, leading a sulky's length to Koala King, who's got in on the rails behind him with Don't Retreat now caught out in the death seat. On the rails is Markovina, showing surprising speed this evening, remarkable. Then Conmurra Chief outside, Sporting Sun, and here's Pure Steel off round the outside now. Demmler sending him up 3 deep to get into the death seat. They're followed then by Dillon-Teeshan and Tan Heel. Now as they come off the back at the end of about 700 metres, and Pure Steel's got up into the death seat, and the leader Rip Van Winkle about 4 metres to Pure Steel and a head back Koala King. Don't Retreat again has the 1-1 sit on the outside, fourth, and then back on the rails Markovina. On its outside Conmurra Chief, Sporting Sun from Dillon-Teeshan and Tan Heel is last. In the straight they've completed a lap and coming down to get 2 to go. The leader Rip Van Winkle, he's out half a horse off the fence in front. On the rails, on the outside, Pure Steel. On the rails behind them then is Koala King. Fourth, Don't Retreat with a lovely trail from Markovina, showing a lot of early speed tonight, but is boxed in at the moment from Conmurra Chief outside Sporting Sun. Then Dillon-Teeshan, and last 2 metres away Tan Heel. 1600 to go now in the A.G.Hunter Cup, and Rip Van Winkle taking them along at a pretty fair pace. Led a sulky's length to Pure Steel, his great rival, on the outside in the death seat. Ahead away on the rails Koala King, 3 metres to Don't Retreat and 2 metres on the rails Markovina. 2 to Conmurra Chief, who's being tapped up a little at this stage from Sporting Sun. Then Dillon-Teeshan and 5 or 6 metres to Tan Heel. 1,300 metres to go as they sweep off the back stretch once again. Still the leader Rip Van Winkle by 2 metres to Pure Steel the outside. They were followed Koala King on the rails third, the driver leaning forward in the sulky to try and break the wind resistance. Fourth, Don't Retreat the outside, and then Markovina locked inside Conmurra Chief. Sporting Sun next, then Dillon-Teeshan and Tan Heel. Van der Kemp on Rip Van Winkle has made a pace out in front that, with the exception of Pure Steel, nobody's game to come out and make a run. And with 1 lap to go now, 900 metres, Rip Van Winkle nearly a sulky's length to Pure Steel. Demmler getting a little anxious. Don't Retreat third. Koala King's had it. He's dropping out. They were followed then by Markovina, who's eased off the fence. He shoved Conmurra Chief out of the way to try and get a clear passage. Next, Sporting Sun, Dillon-Teeshan, Tan Heel. They've got 700 to go. Into the back stretch. Rip Van Winkle, 2 metres to Pure Steel. A sulky's length, Don't Retreat. Those 3 champions. And Markovina, the other one in the betting, moving up to be fourth from Conmurra Chief, and they've got away from the others. 600 to go, and the leader, Rip Van Winkle. Pure Steel laying down the gauntlet 2 metres away. Demmler looked over his shoulder, saw Don't Retreat had dropped back 6 metres. Then a sulky's length to Dillon-Teeshan and Markovina. But Rip Van Winkle and Pure Steel at the 400, kicked away by 10 metres, and Pure Steel, he's throwing down the gauntlet properly now on the corner. Demmler hit him with the whip. He's moved to within a head of Rip Van Winkle. 20 metres, Don't Retreat, and then came Markovina, Tan Heel. Pure Steel's got Rip Van Winkle. He's headed him off as they turn for home. They're both tired going up and down in the one place, but Pure Steel shot away from Rip Van Winkle. Then Don't Retreat and Markovina getting home along the fence. Dillon-Teeshan. Pure Steel can hardly lift his legs on the line. He's just in front and he's won. Dillon-Teeshan 1.5 metres second. Don't Retreat third. Fourth, Rip Van Winkle. They're followed by Markovina and Tan Heel, all in a bunch. 20 metres Sporting Sun, Conmurra Chief, and 50 metres to Koala King.